The Biden administration is taking aim at cutting bank overdraft fees. A new proposal claims cutting those fees will save people billions.
Many banks will charge up to $35 when you overdraft on your account. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is now proposing rules that would cut those fees to as low as $3. It says that could save consumers $3.5 billion per year.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. 23 million households are forced to pay overdraft fees every year. New additions to the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Are you reeling in the years? Steely Dan members Donald Fagen and the late Walter Becker reeling in the accolades. Among the latest to get into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the new names announced Wednesday. Joining them are the 4 founding members of R.E.M., sexy back songwriter Timbaland, country songwriter Hillary Lindsey, known for Jesus Take the Wheel and more, and Dean Pitchford, writer of classics including Footloose and Fame. They'll all be inducted in New York City in June. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
More American parents are homeschooling their kids. An estimated 2.7 million children are currently being homeschooled, compared to 1.5 million before the pandemic. Homeschooling advocates say they have concerns about academics, bullying, and school shootings, but critics worry about the quality of education as well as social development. Retail sales were up strongly in December as Americans showed continued willingness to spend. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Roof Rescue. With all the snow, Cache Valley residents have been shoveling lately. They should not forget their fire hydrants. They need to remain unobstructed even during snowstorms. Clearing the snow from fire hydrants is critical because firefighters must be able to identify where they are quickly to access water in case of a fire or other emergency. Snow-obstructed fire hydrants can delay firefighting efforts, costing valuable time for a fire to grow, causing more damage to the structure. To ensure fire hydrants surrounding a facility remain accessible during the winter, following the National Fire Protection Association's recommendations is crucial. The NFPA recommend a 36-inch clear space maintained around the circumference of fire hydrants unless otherwise required. Some jurisdictions could have different requirements for how much clearance is needed and the time frame snow should be removed. Clearing snow becomes more difficult the longer the snow hardens around the hydrant. If the snow melts and freezes, clearing the snow may have to be chiseled away. Also, when snow stacks up quickly and buries the hydrant during major storms, it can make finding it extremely difficult. There are ways to help identify snow-covered hydrants where they are. One way is to attach a flag or device approved by local municipalities to mark the hydrant's location. Another option is to place a reflector on the road in front of the fire hydrant, but before deciding any method to mark a fire hydrant, one should check with their local city and to receive their approval. Ensuring firefighters have access to fire hydrants at any time of the year is crucial, but it can be most challenging in the winter. The NFPA recommends being proactive when clearing snow from fire hydrants to ensure that they remain unobstructed by snow in case of an emergency. KBNU News Time is 4:07. KBNU weather for tonight could have a little bit more snow this evening. They're saying about an inch accumulation and then snow and rain after midnight. Then cloudy skies, 30% chance of rain and snow in the morning, but partly sunny by afternoon and all the way up into the upper 30s is what the forecast is. Mostly cloudy Thursday night and Friday. Friday's high around 40 degrees. The warmest it's been, 25. That's what it is right now, 25 degrees at KBNU. Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology is Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Call 753-HEAR. That's 753-HEAR.
Roof Rescue is your local roof specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top-quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
KBNU News Time is 4:08. A man accused of faking his death and fleeing the U.S. to avoid rape charges in Utah denied at a court appearance on Tuesday that he is the suspect, and in an apparent British accent called allegations that he was not giving his true name complete hearsay. Nicholas Rossi, whose legal name is Nicholas Alaverdian, is charged with the rape of a 21-year-old woman in Orem in 2008. He was not identified as a suspect until about a decade later due to a backlog of DNA test kits at the Utah State Crime Lab. The 36-year-old Rossi was extradited from Scotland earlier this month. He identified himself Tuesday as Arthur Knight Brown and gave a birth date in British English, listing the day first, followed by the month and year. That is different from Rossi's. He appeared from jail via video wearing an oxygen mask and did not enter a plea at the initial court appearance. He was difficult to understand at times and had to lift up the mask to be heard. Deputy Salt Lake County Attorney Tamara Baswez said that Rossi has not admitted his name or birth date since he returned to Utah. Rossi is being jailed without the possibility of posting bail in the Orem case. The judge set a detention hearing for January 26th. Rossi, who grew up in foster homes in Rhode Island, made a name for himself there as a vocal critic of the state's Department of Children, Youth, and Families. 4 years ago, he told media in Rhode Island that he had late-stage non-Hodgkin lymphoma and had weeks to live. An obituary published online claimed he died February 29, 2020. Prosecutors say he used at least 10 different aliases over the years. And in a recent study conducted by the small business blog, Utah has emerged as the front runner in the U.S. for individuals looking to embark on new business ventures in the coming year. The analysis, which delved into search data from Google Keyword Planner for over 100 terms related to side hustle and small business, provided valuable insights into entrepreneurial aspirations across the country. Utah claimed the top spot with an average of 365 monthly searches per 100,000 residents expressing an interest in starting a new business in 2024. Idaho ranked 19th with 287 searches per 100,000 people. The most frequently searched terms in Utah included side hustle and side hustle ideas, indicating both a entrepreneurial spirit and a concern among its residents to make ends meet due to rising inflation. Utah neighbors Arizona and Colorado ranked second and third, respectively. New York ranked fourth and Nevada fifth to round out the top five. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Mississippi emerged as the state with the least interest in side jobs, with only 202 searches per 100,000 people. A spokesperson for the small business blog noted that the cost of living across the country has risen drastically, and it's become necessary for many households to seek additional sources of income, whether this be in the form of a side business or a fully fledged small business. They said, in fact, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics report, there has been an 8.29% increase since 2021 of Americans having more than one job. KBNU News Time is 4:12. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Breaking news. Stimulating talk is what we do. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aids. Once again, you'll be able to hear a loved one's laughter and understand conversations. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Call 753-4327. That's 753-HEAR. Or visit cachehearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Thursday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We're just a few days out from New Hampshire. Donald Trump, huge win in Iowa. Can he replicate that in New Hampshire and effectively lock up the nomination? We will discuss. Plus, Buck.
The border continues to be a top issue in all the polling about what people are most concerned about. We'll discuss that and also a major Supreme Court ruling on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU 102 FM and 610 AM.
Heart valve disease is more common than you or your doctor may think, especially as you get older. It's serious but treatable with the proper diagnosis. If you or a loved one are experiencing shortness of breath, fatigue, chest tightness or pressure, dizziness or fainting, talk to your doctor and ask for an echocardiogram to get diagnosed early and enjoy your best quality of life. Learn more at askforecho.com. That's ask4echo.com.
Serving overseas was just the beginning. We might be home from war, but our mission continues in communities all across the country. It's why we're out there in times of peace and crisis, providing meals to the hungry and supplies to the sick. It's why we're giving strength to those who are too weak and bringing resources to those without them. Service doesn't stop when we're done serving. It's what makes us the VFW. Learn more at vfw.org.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, a beautiful Wednesday. So much for that 1 to 3 inches that they predicted, right? That was the forecast I last saw last night. Valley floors, maybe 3 inches on the benches, maybe.
We got the 3 inches and then some.
And a couple more 3 inches in some areas. Joining us right now for this month's installment of Speak to the Mayor, we have Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio. We'll be getting to what happened on Capitol Hill today later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. And Mayor Daines, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you in for our first one of 2024.
I know. It's Happy New Year. I mean, we're already halfway through January, which is hard to believe. But since I haven't seen you since January 1, I can say Happy New Year.
That's right. And it's been quite a year so far for cities in Cache Valley as far as road conditions and planning for snow and keeping things clear. And I'm going to, this is something listeners have heard before, but I'll say it while you're here because I mentioned it well. County Executive David Zook was here during the, was it 2 weeks ago, Bill, the snow squall?
Yeah, I think so.
So it was a Monday evening, Tuesday evening, something like that. My memory's bad. But I left here at 6, and as I was leaving, I just happened to make note of, I saw them over here next door loading the trucks up, and then I passed a couple of Logan City trucks, small and big, and then I passed some county trucks on my I'm headed home to bundle up and call it a night because of this snow squall that just hammered us. And I realize all of these people are just gearing up for their shift that is just beginning.
Right. And tomorrow morning we'll have crews that, they'll work till 11 tonight. And then just because the laws say they have to have a certain number of hours downtime, they'll go home at 11, excuse me, but then they'll come back in at 4 a.m. and start to get things cleared out, before drivers have to be up and navigating the roads to get to work. So they're pretty dedicated. We appreciate that they're willing to do that.
It really just struck me that night because of the contrast in where I was headed and what my plans for the night were. I decided all the snow blowing, all the shoveling was going to happen the next day. I was going to go home, bundle up, watch something on TV, catch up on Netflix, something like that. And it was just so cold. And then, just seeing them just starting, heading out, getting the trucks ready. And it really just kind of drove the point home that we do take that for granted. That
we do. Again, we have UDOT, we have the county, we have the city, we have all the other various cities in the valley. So it takes a big effort. And please be patient if it takes us a while on a big storm to get to your particular road.
A lot of roads, right?
Right. And, obviously the cul-de-sacs are the last priority and the hills are the first priority. So they do have a plan. We have certain routes and, again, they have a pattern they follow and they get to it as fast as they can.
Sure. That's, it's amazing that they actually can do as much as they do, considering the miles of roads that need attention after a snowstorm like this. And there are things we can do to help make life easier, right? I notice, garbage can placement on garbage days is really something that people could maybe think a little bit more about. I've seen a couple of incidents, not in Logan, but where trucks, they had no choice, but they have to keep moving, as I understand it.
Yeah.
And someone had put a can a bit too far out into the road and just and they don't have really an option. If they stop, they're stuck, and with that big plow full of snow. And so, and then, of course, wintertime parking restrictions.
Exactly. And if it snows during the middle of the day, obviously it's legal to park on the streets, but if you have an option to be off the streets, that certainly helps our drivers because, they don't want to slide into you, cause damage.
Sure.
And it's just easier to clear the snow if they don't have to go weave in and out around obstacles, vehicles, whatever.
Sure. And, if you've ever been there as a snowplow went by, and they have no control over this, but if they happen to hit a big chunk of ice with that plow, it'll throw it 10, 15 feet. It's a good way to lose a window or have your car damaged. If you can get off the street, do. And I know the weather can be unpredictable, and at times, it is impossible to completely avoid it, especially in the daytime, but just think of those road crews out there. I know a lot of us wake up and the roads are clear and it just seems to happen by magic, but there are a lot of people that are involved in keeping the roads safe for us in weather like this. So appreciate it and help them out where you can. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio. It's Speak to the Mayor on KVNU's For the People, and we'll be back right after this.
Are you a dedicated caregiver tirelessly looking after the needs of your aging loved one? Hi, I'm Haley, and I want to extend a heartfelt invitation from all of us here at Legacy House of Logan. Legacy House provides a safe and nurturing space for your loved one, giving you the peace of mind you need to focus on your own well-being. Consider taking the next step in the care of your loved one by scheduling a tour of our facility and meet our caregivers. We're Legacy House of Logan on 1400 North and online at legacylogan.com.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture, so you work toward your unique retirement goals. Contact one of the 7 offices of Edward Jones in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
It's a new year and an opportunity to plan for the future. That's what we're doing here, the Cache Valley Media Group. We're in the middle of a significant upgrade in the technology we use to bring our community the best of local news, weather, sports, music, and entertainment. But in the process of doing that, we may encounter a few bumps in our programming along the way. We assure you, we're aware, and our team is working very hard to make our transition as seamless as possible. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening to this radio station. And from all of us at the Cache Valley Media Group, we hope you have a great 2024.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio with us. Speak to the mayor is throughout the first hour. If you'd like to join us, if you have a question or comment, 753-5868. And Mayor Daines, we had a question from a listener come in just a few days ago, actually. A listener had been downtown for something, and it happened to, with his or her family, had gone over and watched the kids ice skating at the ice rink there in the downtown plaza, and just commenting that it was really fun to see all these kids having fun and laughing, and families out. And I understand from the details provided, I understand this was in the evening time. And listener said, this has to be getting used to death. Do we have any data on how many people are signing up to skate? There on weekends, there are several sessions that you can register for, right? To make sure that there's kind of a spot for you on the rink.
Yeah, and it's not a huge rink, as we know, so we have limited the number of skaters per session just to make sure everyone has a good experience and there's plenty of room to skate. So we allow 80 people per session, and they sell 60 places in advance online, so you can reserve your spot, but they also reserve 20 for walk-ups, just, if people come on the spot. But since November 27th, that was the Saturday after Thanksgiving when we opened the rink, we have had, and this is as of yesterday, 7,985 skaters. So over the holidays, the sessions were basically all sold out. Again, there were, we had the walk-up option, and I think that'll probably slow down a little bit, over the holidays. But people have just used it and loved it and enjoyed it, and I think been really pleased about it. So that's a great thing.
I knew the number would be big. I didn't expect that big. That is very cool to think of that many people out there enjoying it in its first year. And it's gone well, right? Technically. I mean, I know there were some concerns. You don't control the weather, but how this would work with variable temperatures and snow and things like that. But it's worked well.
It has. And for instance, the rink has a little thermostat embedded in the ice, and it's actually on the north side of the rink, which gets a little bit of sun sometimes. And so that tells the chillers when they need to come on. So obviously if the weather is such that, they don't need to come on, we don't use the energy to run them. But the chillers make it possible. And there have still been a few comments online that I don't think people realize it is a mechanically chilled rink. They say, well, why can't we have Merlin Olsen instead? It's like, this year...
Oftentimes we couldn't.
Right. The past 7 years, they honestly have not been able to freeze it. And with just the snow we've gotten the last week, that would be when they could finally pack Merlin Olsen to make the base. But then the weather's predicted to go up to 40 degrees this weekend. So
at night sometimes.
Yeah, even if they packed it and tried to freeze it, it wouldn't freeze. So this gives us the ability to have consistent skating and
throughout the whole season.
Exactly,
right?
And we'll leave the rink open until the first part of March, and then take that down and get ready for other spring things. And we'll leave. We purposely chose the rink decorations to be snowflakes and deer, which are kind of just a wintertime motif. So
they can stay for
we'll leave that up until March, because often, we have long, dark winter nights, and the lights are really festive and give it a great atmosphere.
Yes.
So
it does. It brings a little bit of something extra to downtown, even if you're just driving by on Main Street. I've caught it, several times, but you'll stop in traffic there, and you can see through the entryway, the Main Street entryway to the plaza area. You just see all these people, all these lights, and there's activity going on, and that is that's downtown. When you think of downtown, that's kind of what it should be like, right? Like a lot of people, lights, activity, things like that. So it's really fun to experience, like I say, even if you're just driving by, and it makes you think, I got to get out there.
Exactly. My grandkids were here over the holidays from out of state, and so we took them down. I did not skate. I just watched. But they had such a good time. They and their parents skated, and again, I was watching the other skaters at the time. So I think it's a really fun option. We have long winters, and we like to have some fun things to do outdoors, and certainly skating is one. And the other thing I'll mention is we finally, with these last 2 snowstorms, 3 days ago, we opened the cross-country skiing loops at the golf course. So they're open dawn to dusk, and just in the last 3 days, staff tells me we've had about 82 skiers out there enjoying it. It's open dawn to dusk. We ask people to stay on the trails because they don't want to damage the golf course. But if you stay on the trails, it's good. And unfortunately, pets aren't allowed on this route. We do allow leashed pets on our trails, but not on the cross-country ski course. But if you have skis or if you want to rent skis, and last year I did that. I rented some cross-country skis and just had a delightful time out there on the trails cross-country skiing. So
it's fun. It's a lot more exercise than you think.
It is.
I remember the first time I went, I thought, that's got to be just easy. And then, wow, what a workout. But very fun to get out and do, and a great way to use space that in the wintertime is has traditionally just kind of been there, snow covered.
Right, exactly. And a few years ago, we bought some grooming equipment, and, hats off to our golf course manager who usually runs the lawnmowers. In the summer, he's been willing to go out and, groom the course and encourage the cross-country skiers. So we try and use that resource as much as we can. And it's free for cross-country skiing. You have to pay to golf, but it's free for cross-country skiing. So go for it.
And nothing beats free. That, again, is open dawn to dusk at the Logan City Golf Course, the south end of the city there. I saw some people out getting suited up. I was on my way here today, actually. But another fun thing you can get out and do in the wintertime, repurposing the golf course for a cross-country ski loop, several loops, for the winter months, and it's officially open. Finally, enough snow. Speak to the mayor with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines continues after this look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KBNU News Time is 4:30, and the news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. A woman was hospitalized in critical condition after she was struck by a car while crossing a road in Cottonwood Heights. Police responded to the scene at about 9 a.m. Tuesday. They said a 51-year-old woman was walking westbound on Fort Union and using the crosswalk at Highland Drive. The driver was reportedly going eastbound on Fort Union and making a right-hand turn onto Highland. Witnesses told officials the car did not appear to have been traveling faster than 5 miles per hour. Officers said the driver remained at the scene. The pedestrian was transported to a hospital in critical condition. One person died after officials responded to a camp trailer fire in Carbon County. Helper City firefighters said they responded to the scene at about 1 a.m. on Tuesday and found the trailer fully engulfed. While they were extinguishing flames, officials said they located the body of someone whose identity was not immediately known. The incident remains under investigation with assistance from the Helper Police Department, Utah State Medical Examiner's Office, and the Utah State Fire Marshal's Office. Helper fire officials wrote in a press release that they would like to express their sincere condolences to the family of the deceased at this time. And Nellie Joseph scored a season-high 26 points. Donovan Dent had 15 points and a career-high 14 assists, and New Mexico beat 16th-ranked Utah State 99-86 last night at the Pit in Albuquerque, their second straight victory over a ranked opponent. The Lobos had 6 players in double figures. Jalen House added 14 points to help New Mexico end a 7-game losing streak to the Aggies. New Mexico is coming off a victory over then number 19 San Diego State on Saturday. For Utah State, Ian Martinez scored 22 points. Mason Falslev had 19, but Utah State had its 15-game winning streak snapped with the loss. KVNU News Time is 4:33.
UNI Furniture just took advantage of a last-minute opportunity. A name-brand furniture manufacturer called and discounted all of their showroom furniture from the furniture market. UNI Furniture sent a truck to pick it up, and it's all just arrived. Bookcases and TV consoles, some featuring built-in fireplaces, occasional tables, bedroom and dining room furniture, all in stock and discounted right now at UNI Furniture. So come shopping and take a look. There are one-time deals on name-brand furniture at a place where there's always a better buy at UNI Furniture in downtown Logan.
ABC News, I'm Daria Aldinger. Congressional leaders and President Biden are still trying to come to terms on a new budget deal. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it must include more money for border security.
We understand that there's concern about the safety, security, sovereignty of Ukraine, but the American people have those same concerns about our own domestic sovereignty and our safety and our security.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats want money for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
There was Democratic and Republican agreement that was essential we help Ukraine.
The government will shut down at midnight Friday without at least a temporary spending plan. Authorities in Portland, Oregon say 3 people were killed and a baby was hurt when a power line fell on their car during an ice storm. A travel ban is in effect for Buffalo, New York, with up to 3 feet of additional snow expected after back-to-back storms. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's proposed dropping overdraft fees to as low as $3. This is ABC News.
KVNU weather for tonight. Winter weather advisory still in effect till 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Snow in the evening, then snow and rain after midnight. Accumulation around 1 inch. Overnight low in the mid-20s. And then cloudy, 30% chance of rain and snow in the morning. Partly sunny by afternoon. High tomorrow in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy, around 40 degrees on Friday. It's been to 26. Right now it's 24 degrees at KVNU. Roof Rescue is dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry, from minor repairs to complete roof replacement. See roofrescueusa.com or call 435-999-4268. You can always get more news at cashvalleydaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Ted Caron with Edward Jones Investments in Smithfield, bringing you the daily financial market report for Wednesday, January 17th. The major stock indexes closed lower on Wednesday, following Tuesday's lower finish, as the market has taken a more defensive posture so far in 2024. While there's no major shift in the investment narrative, we'd chalk this bout of weakness up to a bit of ongoing profit-taking after the sharp rally coming into the year, as well as some shift in the market's optimism around just how quickly the Fed will begin to loosen policy. Accordingly, rates were higher on the day, a response to Fed Governor Waller's speech that appeared aimed at pushing back against expectations of rapidly approaching rate cuts. The 10-year yield is back to 4.1% after starting the year below 4%. Looking across markets, global equities were lower after data showed tepid growth in China and an upturn in UK inflation, while oil prices were slightly higher and gold was down on the day. U.S. retail sales rose 0.6% in December versus the prior month, signaling ongoing resilience from consumers to close out 2023. Core sales rose by an even better 0.8% month over month, the strongest increase since July, boosted by strength in apparel, sporting goods, and general merchandise spending. We're pleased to see household consumption is holding up, as this sets the course for overall GDP growth. That said, we still anticipate a slowdown in consumer spending this year, driven by slower wage growth, depleted excess savings, and the ongoing effects of restrictive monetary policy. The upshot is that we anticipate a slowdown in spending, not a collapse, which should help the economy avoid a more severe downturn. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you by Ted Caron with Edward Jones Investments, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention on financial advice. If you'd like additional information, please contact any of the 7 Edward Jones advisors in Cache Valley, in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield.
Wow, Dave, what's the matter? You don't look so good. You look like you're under a lot of stress.
You're right, Bob. And looks aren't deceiving. I thought turning 65 would be easy. Boy, was I wrong. Every day I go to the mailbox, I'm inundated with mail, bombarded with phone calls from telemarketers, and when I turn on the TV, all I see is Medicare commercials. It's like a bad dream I can't wake up from.
I know how you feel, Dave. I felt the same way.
So what'd you do?
I went to Jessup Insurance. I can't believe the peace of mind they've given me. They've helped me to understand Medicare and explained all of my insurance options. Dave. Hey, Dave, where are you going?
I'm heading to Jessup Insurance to get rid of this bad dream.
Say goodbye to all the Medicare confusion. Call Jessup Insurance, 435-213-3200, or Google Jessup Insurance.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
The Ramsey Show. Up to 50% of American families are paying their adult children's bills to an average of $1,482 a month. Wow. I've never seen it like this. 25% of millennials, their parents are paying their house payment, their rent, or they're living in their basement. You pay your kids' bills. Psychologists call that enabling. As a matter of fact, enabling is quite the opposite of loving.
Evenings on KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio. Some good news for Logan residents. The cross-country loops are officially open at the golf course, dawn to dusk. That is free, and they have groomed some pretty nice and extensive trails throughout the golf course area for cross-country skiers. Finally enough snow for that. Finally too much snow for that. It comes all at once,
they'll have to groom them
right?
again after today. But
it was like not enough and then too much. That's how it goes in the wintertime here in Utah. But it is really fun to watch Logan City coming together. And I'd mentioned to you, Mayor, that I had an opportunity recently. I drive Main Street all the time, but I had an opportunity to actually step out on foot on the sidewalk and across the street. The library, they had the lights on. They were working late. It was a weeknight, and they were. I think they were actually putting shelves together in there. And you could. I got a sneak peek at the design with those lights on inside after dark, and man, it just looks really good. And that project has been in the works for years and debated for years. And then you said that delays have been minor.
Well,
and kind of expected, right?
We've had, I mean, it was interesting. The other day I looked up the date for the groundbreaking. So we broke ground on April 18th, 2022. So This has been almost a 2-year project. We didn't think it would take quite that long, but one major piece of equipment, the whole HVAC system, what they call the air handler, it had been ordered a year in advance from when we needed it, and it took 18 more months.
Really?
Total to get here. So that slowed us down a bit. There were just certain things we couldn't do until that was in place. And that's, I'll give you kind of a little scoop on the press release I'm sending out tomorrow. We are pushing back the date of the ribbon cutting. So we had planned to do a ribbon cutting on January 29th. So that is coming up very, very soon. But we still need a little bit more time. So we will be rescheduling that to Monday, March 4th at 11 a.m. So, again, we're getting very close. I mean, the librarians are putting books on shelves, but, the shelving isn't quite finished. You mentioned that that was going on. They still need to finish the shelving. We've had some delays with the elevators, which have meant it's difficult to get things to the upper floors.
That's interesting. I just talked to a lawmaker in Bountiful. There's a school construction project there. Same thing. Right. They're held up by elevators.
Well, and the elevators are completed. They just need the inspection. We've been trying to get the inspection for a number of weeks. So that's what's holding us up. But it will be absolutely fabulous when it's finished. There, again, the children's area, which will be a highlight, has this wonderful mural on the wall. There'll be this kind of magical tree made. The tree trunk is wood, but then it has these felt leaves in different colors. And I just think it just is beautiful. The furniture's kind of, they're placing that around right now. It's not out of the bags yet, but I'm seeing the colors, and it really is going to come together in a nice way. And there will be, conference rooms for people to use and a community room. Libraries are community centers. There's much more than just checking out a book. So
that is, and speaking of checking out a book, hats off to the city librarian and staff for keeping the services going for the most part without a pause. I mean, there have been times when when they moved everything, they had to shut down completely for a while. But then once they were up and running in the temporary spot, they just started the services back up, and people have been able to use the library, quote unquote, most of the ways that you do. Having that physical space back, they have to be really excited for that.
I know, and they have been truly very, very patient. We thought it would, maybe be a year and a half at the most when we moved into the temporary quarters in the service center, and it's been just about 2. It's just not ideal space, but it's saved the city, at least $100,000, probably more. We looked at other facilities to rent in the meantime to A, just store the books, B, try and keep it open a little bit. So, again, our staff have risen to the occasion. Our mechanics down at the service center have shared space with them. All of our city employees have really worked together, and I appreciate that team effort. And again, like I say, we're getting books moved, so
that's very nice.
It'll be fun when it's open.
That is so a bit of a delay on the ribbon cutting from January 29th to March 4th, but things coming together, and you can see it if you drive by. You can kind of get an idea. I love the design of the building. I can see now, what is planned with some of those upper spaces and it's just a great use of the space. And that's something to talk about a little bit. Logan City has been adapting to growth and adapting to growing needs and expectations of residents, while at the same time, from the new fire station to the library to downtown and the plaza, having to try to find a way to make use of existing space in a way. And a lot of times that means, you can't do exactly what you'd want to do because the space is this shape, or this building here is going to remain, or we only have X amount, so we've got to go up higher instead of out wider. But getting creative about that has, I think, led to some nice aesthetics for what they're worth in downtown, but it does kind of emphasize the importance of planning all of this, right?
And, and some things are trickier than others. Obviously, you can shut down a library for a month or 2 while you move or whatever, but with, for example, the fire station, you can't shut public safety down, and that was one of the challenges. That existing spot would have been great, but how do you demo that? How do you keep your EMS? So we did go with the new site across the street, because the location they're in is ideal for what they do, their calls, for where the other stations are located. So again, we're just going to keep them running in the old station until the new station is finished. We haven't announced any ribbon cutting dates there, but what we'd like to do, because once you have the station staffed and people are living there, because the firefighters, they'll have a 24-hour shift, and there's dorms and so on. But what we'll do is we'll allow open houses before we actually make the final move, so people can walk through the entire station and see what the little dorms look like for the firefighters, and then we'll do the final move. But
officially move them in.
Yeah, a couple of big, and that may happen. Maybe February, maybe it'll be March on that one too. So. We'll get there.
That project came together quickly. I did not expect that. I thought that it would be a while, even debating location. But it came together. It's so needed. I've mentioned this before, but just before this issue came up, I had a chance to volunteer with the health department for one of the vaccine clinics in the existing fire department. And I remember being in there, and someone needed to use the restroom, and they were directing them to it. And I said, I'll run too. And I remember standing in there thinking, this is the same place I had a 3rd grade tour. They took us to the fire department in 3rd grade, And this is the same restroom. This is the same tile, same mirror. It really, it emphasized how old that building is. But there's some, it did its job, right?
It did. And as you know,
used.
Aesthetics, they would like a new restroom after 50 years, but clearly it was the seismic issues that really pushed us into...
It was an unsafe situation.
You just have to... there are higher standards for, buildings that first responders are in, which totally makes sense.
And some of those were equipment standards too, right? As I understand it, there are storage requirements for certain types of equipment, and they were having to get kind of creative in that old space with newer equipment, not really matching with an older building, right?
Mm-hmm. So again, the new station will serve us for another 50 years. So I think it's another good infrastructure investment. It will be around for a long time to benefit the citizens.
Yeah, that's and also someone pointed this out, but for the fire trucks in a call, right turns instead of left turns across that road if they're headed out to Main Street. So a few seconds speedier exit from the fire station, but it really is a long overdue project. I'm happy to see that one come together. And like you said, that to be able to do that in basically the same place. And the plan still is to demo the old building once this is done.
Actually, the city has an RFP out now. We'll sell the building.
Oh, okay.
So again, we're asking for offers right now. So we'll take into account both price and, what could benefit the downtown. We're always looking at what's a benefit. So we hope to receive some offers, and we'll see what the offers are financially, what they are in terms of what business or what entity might be interested in purchasing them. So we'll evaluate that and make a decision. So we will sell that property to, we don't know who at this point.
Someone.
I think responses to the RFP need to be in by the end of this month, if I recall.
And that is zoned for commercial, even though it's a fire station right now, right?
Right. It's zoned commercial.
That could be interesting. Man, what a unique
Well, it's actually zoned Town Center 1, I think, which, again, allows for commercial, housing. It's a mixed-use type zone. So.
Yeah, that would be a good spot for a lot of things. Housing, a parking terrace. I can think of someone out there buy that and do something cool with it.
Right, so we will see. But maybe, can I put one other plug in just as a reminder to people, especially with this cold weather and so on. This is the time of year, as you know, that we get inversions. So just a reminder that 2 minutes of idling, that's the limit. We have a slogan in the city, it's a statewide program, turn your key, be idle free, because approximately 60% of PM 2.5 comes from vehicle emissions, and that's something we can control. And just another note, hospitals see a 40% increase in emergency room visits when pollution ranks as unhealthy. So it's to our benefit, all of our benefit, to try and keep our... and I know we're all tempted when it's cold and, the window's frozen over to go in and, run your car for a while to get the defrost. Well, it only really takes a minute to scrape your window, and then you can turn on your car and get in. And, again, it's just a healthy, kind, considerate choice for everyone to not leave your car idling. So
I've noticed that a lot. In fact, I've started to sort of blame the smartphone because I've noticed a lot of people come out of a retail location or a gym or something like that, and they start their car and then they start looking at their phone, checking all their notifications on their phone, and then I think that goes on a little bit longer than most of us realize, that you're sitting there idling, pumping pollution into the air. And as far as warming your car up, it's really bad for your car, and it actually takes longer to get warm idling than if you just hopped in it and started driving with clear windows, of course. Good advice. And it's easy to, with the storms, we kind of forget the inversions, but we have, some significant number of days each year where air quality is at least moderately unhealthy here in Cache Valley. So everybody kick in. It would be nice to not have to deal with that at all one day, but.
And then one other quick note, at least in Logan City, you do have to remove snow and ice from sidewalks adjacent to your property, even though sidewalks are public. But so please be nice, remove the snow and ice. And if you're unable to do that, USU's Christensen Office of Social Action and Sustainability allows you to either volunteer or ask for help. You know, if you are older or have a reason where you can't do your own, contact them and they will line you up with a volunteer to provide some help. So encourage people and help your neighbors. I think we're pretty good in Cache Valley about trying to do that. But if your neighbor needs some help, please help them with shoveling their walk and clearing those curb cuts, because I think we've all seen it when a disabled person in a motorized chair, you know, they are trying to get along the sidewalk. They have to go out in the road because they can't get, you know.
Because there's one stretch that wasn't cleared.
So,
be
kind.
It is. And honestly, if you have a neighbor that just doesn't do it and you're able to zip up there with the snowblower or clear that out, it's I've seen that many times where a disabled person in a wheelchair user having to skirt out into the slushy road, into traffic to get around a 20-foot stretch in front of a home that wasn't cleared. So, good thing to keep in mind, especially with this much snow. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines, our guest here in the studio. Speak to the Mayor continues right after this.
Are you in need of excellent surgical care? Budge Clinic General Surgery offers the future of surgery with state-of-the-art robotic-assisted procedures. From cancer treatments to surgical needs, they've got you covered. Call Budge Clinic General Surgery today, 435-716-1950, to schedule a consultation and experience the best possible outcome. Trust Doctors Anderson, Marshall, McKenna, and Peterson, the experts at Budge Clinic General Surgery, helping people live the healthiest lives possible.
Your home is where heart should be. Hard Floor Company.
To all the customers and trade partners of Hart Floor Company, they wish to thank you and wish you and your family a happy and prosperous new year. It's an honor to serve in Cache Valley, and Hart Floor Company enjoys working with each and every one of you. They'll continue to strive for great service, quality flooring, innovative ideas, and fair pricing. Thank you, Cache Valley, and Happy New Year from Hart Floor Company, 390 North, 10th West in Logan.
Your home is where heart should be. Hart Floor Company.
Hello, Cache Valley. This is Tom Hale at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly ARS. Remember, got a mess? Call ARS. We want to let you know that here at Blue Sky, we still have the same great staff, we provide the same excellent service, and are ready to help you in your time of need with water mitigation, mold remediation, or a fire. From Blue Sky Restoration, thank you for trusting our staff and myself for over 35 years with your disaster needs, and we will continue to be here for you.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. One more item that Logan City Mayor Daines wanted to get to here before we're out of time. You may have seen some activity going on that maybe caught your eye. Looked a little strange even there at Second Dam. And this is an important project. Actually, it's amazing this can be done in the wintertime.
Well, and that's really when they have to do it, because once the water's flowing through in the spring, you know, then the irrigators are taking it. So this is a project that our Light and Power Department is doing. I mean, it's a private contractor that they've hired, but they're doing sediment removal. So you may have seen track hose out on barges. And again, then they have a barge that they're filling with sediment, and they take it and load the trucks to take it down the canyon. But
that's just interesting.
Last year there was such a high runoff year that, and you know, sediment starts to accumulate over the years, but last year there was so much sediment that came down that the sediment started to get into the intake for our hydro plant, which is right there at the mouth of the canyon by First Dam. And so there was some equipment that was starting to get damaged. They had to shut that down. And to really solve the problem, we have to take a lot of sediment out, a lot of cubic yards. So that is what's going on up there. If you see those track hose or if you see trucks coming out of that area, that is so we can, because hydro is such a great, you know, renewable resource. It's inexpensive because we have everything all set up. But we had to work on the sediment removal in order to get the water properly into the intake for the hydro. So just a little note of interest if you thought, what are they doing out there? But they hope to finish that up, you know, in the next month or two, and they certainly do have to get it finished up before the spring runoff comes, and then the water is obviously.
I hadn't thought of that. That would have to be a wintertime project.
It's a big company from back east that specializes in this, and that's what they do. They have these track hosts that float on these barges, and it's pretty interesting.
That would be an odd thing to see, driving past Second Dam, to see a track out there just floating on a barge, and I'll bet you got questions. The city. Mayor Daines, always a pleasure to have you join us, and thanks again for taking an hour of your time. Apologies again for keeping you waiting a few minutes. The weather, the roads were a little worse than I thought getting here, let's put it that way. Not in Logan, but some of the other areas. But it is really a pleasure to hear, and I want to go back to where we started, because that is just amazing to think of that ice rink in downtown, 7,000 plus people.
8,000, really, almost
about 8,000,
and then we
that's
still
smiling
have
kids. That's happy families.
Exactly, and we still have until the 1st of March for people to continue to enjoy that. So
that is a really good, just a creative use of downtown area, and downtown just really vibrant right now. If you haven't been downtown, especially on a weekend night, go down, grab something to eat. It is a really fun space in Logan City, and you're not done yet. You've got some time still.
But again, that was one of my goals when I was elected 6 years ago, was downtown revitalization, and I think we've delivered on that promise. So.
I think so. From the library to even projects that happen, the housing there across from the rec center, project coming, still being discussed, details on that, how that'll work. A lot of change, but a lot of really cool stuff. Logan residents, you should feel pretty lucky. I'm saying that not as a Logan resident, but or as
you're kind. Thank you.
It really has been a fun to watch all this come together. And although you've stolen some topics for us to argue about here on the radio show, I think we argued about the library for 20 years.
We did talk about it for a long time. So.
Very nice. Always a pleasure to have you join us. Thank you for taking a full hour of your afternoon for us here and for our listeners. And we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks to our listeners for tuning in as well. Stay tuned. Highlights from day 2 of the 45-day legislative session right after this here on KVNU Logan.